Okay guys, so welcome to this evening's webinar. As you can see, tonight we're talking about support your new team members. Can I just confirm with everybody that you can see that screen okay? Should say bright, nice big letters there, support your new team members. If you could just type in yes or something, that would be good. Thanks Katrina, thanks Matt, good, good. Lots of people can see that, so I'm assuming everybody else can. Excellent. So this is one of a series of 8 webinars that I run, and I was going to say every Wednesday night, but actually tonight is the last one for a couple of weeks because I'm off on a little trip to Madrid with the company next week, so I'll be away for a couple of Wednesdays. There's 8 in the series. I try to do one a week. As I said, sometimes I might miss the odd one, and so it might take 9 or 10 weeks to do the whole lot. And the first 3 are really to do with the retail side of the business, getting started, your first few weeks, and building that customer base. Last week and this week are about building up your residual income by building a team and supporting new team members. And then 6, 7, and 8 are really about the personal development side of the business, which arguably is the most important because you can learn to do the catalogue, the retail side quite quickly. You can certainly learn to share the opportunity and help team members get in quite quickly. And knowing what to do is really only a small part of it. It's actually what drives you to do it over and over and over again, even when you're going through challenges. And that's what 6, 7, and 8 is all about. But tonight we're on number 5, which is all about supporting your new team members. So what we're going to be covering, we're going to be talking about setting their expectations when somebody's just starting. A getting started appointment, it's really, really important to get these guys off to a good start. Sorry guys, just my phone's ringing there, beg your pardon. A little bit about anticipating early problems, because if you've just started in the business and you come across a little obstacle or something, it can be quite worrying and disheartening. So anticipating those is a really great thing to do to help your guys get off to a great start. Helping them keep on track. And I've got some advice for what things that you can do to go to work for them, which might seem a little bit odd, but hopefully it'll make sense. And a bit about recognition. Within our business, recognition is so important. So recognizing their small steps at the beginning is a huge way of encouraging new starters. And promoting events, which I think is really, really important as well. So that's what we're going to be covering. It should take us about half an hour or so. So last week we talked about different ways of finding a new team member. And if you've now got a team member or recently got a new team member, this is when the business really gets exciting. But it's also where your hard work begins. If you thought putting out 300 catalogues in the rain was hard, well, that's just physical hard work. Anybody can do that. And what you will have to deal with in order to achieve the massive success that's possible is some frustration. And there's a little phrase there which I've heard a lot in this business, and can certainly confirm that your success in Kleeneze will be in direct proportion to the amount of frustration that you can deal with. However, remember, you don't have to recruit 1 million people to be very, very successful. You only need 5 serious people in this business to build a huge income. And the reason for that is that it's a network. It's not just up to you to bring 5 people in. As you can see from that little picture, if you brought 5 people in and they each brought 5 people in and those people each brought 5 people in, you can build up a very big business very quickly, as you can see. Now, the aftercare and support for a new team member when they join, this is the biggest impact that you can have on the success of your new team member. However, it is important that you understand that many distributors will leave, and all that you can ask yourself is, did you do everything you could to support them? Because some people will leave no matter how much support you give them. You could go around to their house, you could grab their catalogues, you could go and deliver them, you could pick them back up for them, you could put the order in, and you could give them the money at the end of the week when you've had the money from your customers. And some of them will still leave. So you just have to kind of accept that for some people this just isn't right for them, or at least it's not right for them at this point in time. But just make sure that they don't leave because of lack of support and care from you. And a great way to make sure you do that and to understand what support they need is to keep in touch. There's a little phrase there, constant communication keeps people inspired. And what you will find is that your leaders, in amongst all those people that join your team, the leaders in there will be the ones who are contacting you regularly. It's not just up to you to keep chasing them, they will contact you. So I think a great thing to do when you're just about to sign somebody up, somebody said, yeah, I'm quite interested, yeah, I'd like to go for this starter pack, I'm really keen to make a start. Before they even hand over their money, before they sign up, just go through a few things with them, because this is just setting their expectations right at the beginning. So explain your role as their sponsor. Explain to them that you will give them 100% help and support, and show them where everything is, help them get started, guide them, especially at the beginning. But in return for that, they need to commit to a few things. They need to commit to putting the time in. I'm amazed at the number of times people will say, oh yeah, I'm really interested, I could do with a bit of extra money, yeah, I'd love to do this. And then all of a sudden they can't find an hour a day or a couple of hours at a weekend. Their life is so busy. So if you say to them up front, you do need to commit at least 10 to 15 hours a week. Are you happy with that? At least then it kind of gets their mind focused at the beginning. You need to also say, will you commit to keeping in touch with me? Because some people will kind of say, oh no, I'll be fine, I won't need any support, I'll just head off and do my own thing, I know what I'm doing. I guarantee you they will have problems and it won't work. So they need to commit to keeping in touch with you. And they need to commit to learning the system. Now, which system is that? Well, it will vary a little bit depending on your sponsor and your upline, but with the training videos and guides that we've got, the weekly webinars, these webinars, and any other webinars that your team might do, workshops, local workshops, opportunity meetings that you go to, if you explain to them now that they will be more successful if they commit to learning the system and doing this, then when you then tell them about it and invite them to a workshop or whatever, then they're much more likely to agree to come along because you've already told them that the value of them doing it. So that's getting them started before they even sign up. And then once they've signed up, I recommend you do a little kind of getting started appointment with them as soon as possible after they signed up, within the first 24 hours if you can. And this getting started appointment could be face-to-face if they're local to you. I do recommend, if they're not local, that you do some kind of video call. So that could be Skype or it could be Zoom. That's the tool that we're using today for this webinar, is basically a video conferencing tool. So you can do that. It's really, I found it made a huge difference when I started doing this. Just that first getting started appointment, it's only half an hour or so, but just by being able to say hello, have a bit of a chat, you start to get people's people can kind of get a sense of your body language when you're doing it through a video call. So it's far more useful than just sending them a load of emails or having a telephone call. And the purpose of the getting started appointment is really, there's a couple of things. One is to build rapport with them. So you take your time over this call. You're kind of welcoming them to the team. Make sure, hopefully by then, if it's within 24 hours, if they intend, to do the Facebook side of the business, that they've had a chance to watch those initial videos. But also, it's really, really important to understand what are their needs, what are their goals, why did they join this business? Because there are very few people that join this business because they have a passion to deliver catalogues. Most of them need a bit of income. How much do they need? What is it for? What would their first goals be? How much do they need in the first month or two to make them feel this has been worth their while? Because once you know what they're looking for, and usually it's one of a couple of things. It's often just a little bit extra £50 a week, which is fantastic, because then once they get to their 10% bonus, you can, you congratulate them on achieving their first goal. Or it could be something a bit bigger, because they've got a goal of being able to give up a full-time job, so they want to get it up to, say, £1,000 a month or something like that. Using this getting started call as an opportunity to find out all that information allows you to then have discussions with them over the next few days and weeks about what their goals are and what actions they need to take in order to achieve those goals. You can do an introduction to the retail side of the business. So if they've gone through the Facebook videos at that point, you can kind of explain to them a little bit more about, answer any questions they might have. And if they've just started on the catalogue side, then you could use this opportunity to explain a little bit about putting their catalogue together and how to deliver them, that sort of thing. So it's just a great opportunity just to give them a bit more information to help them get started. And the other thing you can do, and this is a great opportunity just to reinforce that, is to introduce them to the different trainings that they can get. And that can be webinars like this. You can introduce them, say that, the Wednesday night webinar, and you can start to promote your local events, whether that's a workshop or an opportunity meeting or whatever. So the more often you talk about these things, the more you kind of normalize it. And what I mean by that is people will then start to think, okay, if I'm going to be successful at this, this is what I do. And so rather than just introducing it after a month, all of a sudden, oh, we've got a meeting at the weekend, and they're thinking, oh, I didn't know about that. You're chatting to them on the first day before they even started, the second day with your getting started appointment, you're starting to talk about these things. So it just becomes a kind of normal part of the business for them. Now, the other thing that I said is when you first start off, a lot of people are quite nervous, they're unsure what might happen, they're kind of hopeful, but slightly anxious perhaps. And if they get problems or queries or errors that they make at the beginning, it can be quite disheartening for them. So if you go through a few early errors with them so that they kind of understand the sorts of things that might happen, then they're much less likely to happen. And if they do happen, at least it won't be such a surprise to them. So little things like make sure they send their photo in for their ID card. Because if you don't send your ID card in, then your account can get put on stop. And if that goes on stop just as you're about to put an order in, and that could have been the difference between hitting a 10% bonus or not, that can be really disheartening if that happens. And just kind of make sure that there's a phrase we call inoculate against failure. So make sure that they're aware. I think it's obvious. In this country, it does rain. So if they go out, they're going to need to have a raincoat on. They will have some wet catalogues. And sometimes you get good pickups, sometimes you get low pickups, especially at the beginning. It can be up and down. But don't worry, you're just kind of going through the process by building up your customer base at this point. There will be some grumpy so-and-sos, both on Facebook, who will comment on, oh, I can get this far much cheaper in £100 or whatever, and with the catalogues as well, saying, don't darken my door with this catalogue again. I told the last person 6 years ago I didn't want one of these, so what are you doing here again? So by just kind of saying to them, yeah, you do get a few things like that, but don't worry, just cross those people off your list, block them on Facebook, take them out of the group, whatever it might be, then you don't need to worry about those people anymore. Make sure you give them contact details for who is going to help them get support. So if you're not going to be available all the time, which we are not as team leaders, we can't guarantee to be there all the time, make sure that they know who your sponsor is and who their sponsor is, so that they know who else to go to if they need some help and you're not available. And then, and I do talk about this quite a lot because I find it's really, really important. It's really important to try to get them to their first meeting. And I talk about promoting the meeting rather than just announcing it. And what I mean by that is, if you just send out emails to your teams or send out a Facebook message saying, hey guys, we've got a meeting in Aberystwyth on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, whatever it might be. See you there. Then some people will come, some people won't. But a lot of people, they'll be thinking, oh, I've got no idea what this meeting is. And yeah, I've probably got something on that night. I don't think I'm going to go to that. Whereas if you're promoting it, what you're trying to do is show them the value of going along. If their goal was to get to £50 a week, and at this meeting they're going to meet people who are already earning more than that and started just a couple of months ago, and you're going to be able to get a chance to meet with all these successful people that have started off exactly the same as they did but are now doing really, really well. By promoting it and inviting them there and helping to solve problems. So if they can't get there because of transport, could you pick them up? Could they get a lift from somebody? If it's childcare, is there somebody else who could just look after the son or daughter for a couple of hours so you can get there? So you're helping them get to the meeting, because initially, as I say, they don't realize what the value is. Another good thing to do is to explain the steps, especially on the catalogue side, on how to build a customer base. Because at the beginning, you're delivering catalogues, you've got no idea who's going to order from you and who isn't. But after you've started to build up your customer base, it becomes a lot easier because you're just delivering to your regular customers. You get loads of orders for a lot fewer catalogues, and it's fantastic. But at the beginning, when you're delivering to mostly people who don't order from you, it's easy to think, oh God, it's going to be like this all the time. So they need to understand that at the beginning they're building it up. Once they've built it up, it's much easier. So it gives them kind of something to aim for. And make sure you speak to them regularly, not just sending text messages. When you're speaking to somebody, you can get a sense for their kind of body language and how they're feeling. And they can get your kind of enthusiasm and support coming across a lot better. So give them a quick call when their starter pack arrives, after they've done their first drop, if they're delivering catalogues, after they've picked up their catalogues, when they're ready to place their first order, you can walk them through that. It just gives you a great opportunity in their first week to speak to them kind of 4, 5, 6 times, which is really important in building up that rapport and that trust with you. Other little things that can go wrong is if they start on the installments set, don't forget to make sure you know the dates when their first and second installments are due. And the reason for this is if they forget and the company tries to take the money from using a card that they paid their first payment, and then if there's no money in that account and the payment fails, then their account goes on hold. And again, if you don't spot that and you're trying to put an order in, and that could be just before the end of the period and you're hoping to get a bonus and you miss out, that can be really disheartening. So make sure you know their dates so that 2 or 3 days beforehand you can remind them about it. As I said there, don't miss one. Now, the other thing I was going to say was, once they've got started, this is when your work for them really begins. Because if they're retailing on Facebook, obviously if it's local to you and they're doing catalogues, you can go around with them, help get their catalogue sorted out. Again, that's a fantastic way to build rapport. Go out and deliver some catalogues with them, pick catalogues up with them. On the Facebook side, you can do similar things for them. So you can join groups in their area. They may not be in the same area as you, so you may not be in groups yet, but you can join groups in their area, and then you can add them to those groups. So that's a great way to help them get into groups quickly. And then what you can do is you can then go into those groups and promote their selling group. I normally just put up a little post like, just something like, hi everyone, my friend Sue has just opened up or has just started a fantastic online shopping group for the Aberystwyth area. Come and have a look at her amazing goodies, loads of things for the home, Christmas, whatever it might be, something like that. And then you can put a link into their group so that they can get people joining their group just as soon as they've got it up and running. Obviously, wait until their group is in place and it's got some products in there. But that's a great way just to kind of help other people become aware of their group and start to join it and see what they've got. I think it's really, really important to explain to a new starter that it's a race at the beginning. We always used to say, and we do in a way still say, that the speed that you go at is entirely up to you. That you don't have any targets set by the company. It's up to you whether, how quickly you want to go things. But actually, what I try to encourage them to do is work as hard as they can in their first 30 days for a number of reasons. But if they can get, their first order in really quickly and make a profit so that they've earned at least, £25 or whatever their startup cost was, if you can get them to their first welcome rewards and then their first bonuses, especially their 10% bonus as well, they get so excited by all of the recognition and all of the rewards that they get that they really kind of enjoy what they're doing. Whereas if you're saying to them, well, no, just take your time, build it up gradually, and it takes 2, 3, 4 months, they might miss out on those free catalogues from the welcome rewards. And, if they've been doing it 2 or 3 months and they haven't kind of made any of their bonuses yet, and they may be struggling to see how much money they're making out of it, then it can be a little bit disheartening for them. Whereas if they work really hard at the beginning, they know they've worked hard, but they can see the rewards from that hard work. And what's really important is that you recognize their progress. And I think Facebook is fantastic for this. We see it all the time. If you're on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen a lot of this, but it's just a simple and effective way to congratulate your new team members. So to start off with, you can just welcome them to your team. So either in a Kleeneze Success group, or if you've got your own team support group, do both. Welcome them to the team. Just gives them a chance to feel part of something bigger, because if the other people in the team all say, oh, hi Sue, hello Susan, hi Sue, welcome to the team, it kind of makes them feel welcome and part of something. And then once they've placed their first order, especially if it's over £150, so they've got their first welcome reward, again, you can say, oh, fantastic job, well done, congratulations. And once they've earned themselves more than £25, or whatever the cost of their starter pack was, they're now in profit. They might have only taken them a week or even less. They put their first order in, they've got a profitable business, so you can congratulate them on that as well. And then if you get their bonuses as well, well done on achieving the bonus. So all of these things can happen really quickly, within their first kind of 2, 3, 4 weeks in the business. If every week or so they're getting a pat on the back, a kind of congratulations, well done, great job, they're thinking, oh, this is fantastic, I never get any of this at work. So that recognizing their process, their early steps, recognizing it's really important. It's kind of more important than congratulating them when they get to gold or beyond, because obviously when they get to gold, they kind of get congratulations from all sorts of places. But doing it at the beginning is really, really important. Now, the other thing is, one of the things that you need to understand from them at the beginning, as I say, you should have this either from the conversations you had with them before they signed up, or certainly from their getting started appointment. How much do they want to earn from this business? Because at the beginning, it's quite difficult for them to work out how much they're earning. There's money coming in, money going out. If they're not keeping track, they might not know. So it's really important for you to keep track, because you also need to be on the lookout for, when do their first 30 days end for their welcome rewards? How close are they to the end of the period? Are they close to getting a bonus, their first 10% bonus, and so on? And for the amount of time they need they've got available to put into this business, is their earnings requirement, that's the right word, realistic? If you've got somebody who sort of says, oh yeah, I've just lost my job, I need £1,000 a month to pay the mortgage, but oh, by the way, I've only got a couple of hours on a Saturday morning, that's probably not realistic. But if they're saying, yeah, well, I just want to do the catalogues, and I just need £50 a week, and I've got, I'm just not quite sure how many catalogues to put out, you can say to them, if you put out 200, 250 catalogues once or twice a week, depending, obviously if you do it twice a week, you'll build it up more quickly. Then they can kind of say, okay, now I've got an idea of what I need to do. If you just sort of say, put as many catalogues out as you can, then they might think, okay, well, I'll put 50 catalogues out. That's probably quite a lot, actually. 50 catalogues. Oh, yeah. Not sure I can do much more than that. And they just don't have any idea. So make sure that you explain to them how many catalogues they need to put out to achieve their 10% bonus, if that's kind of what they're looking to earn. Obviously, if they need more, they want to do it straight away, and they've got more catalogues that they're going to put out, you can explain that to them. And make sure that they're posting on Facebook every day. Again, if they're doing Facebook because they want to build up their online side of their business, and if they're just doing a couple of things once a week, then it's just not going to happen. And you need to help them with that, because they just won't know at the beginning. So keep track of their activity so you can support them and help them. Make sure you explain the bonus system, explaining about the bonus points and the dates, the 28-day period, and which Thursday of the week we're coming up to, so they can work towards that. And just help them set their first goals. Their first goals could be just as simple as achieving their welcome rewards in their first 30 days or their first 60 days, hitting their 10% bonus, because then they'll get a nice cash bonus as well, which is great. And I always try to encourage people to think, if you've got, at the end of your first full period, an extra 200 or 250 pounds in your bank, what would you treat yourself to as a reward for your hard work? And then all of a sudden, instead of just thinking about catalogues on Facebook, they're starting to think about a fantastic weekend with the children, or a new pair of shoes, or whatever it is that they would spend the money on. And it starts to become more visual, if you like. And instead of just thinking about catalogues, they're thinking about those lovely shoes, or whatever it might be. Now, promoting events. You must always go to the events. If you expect your team to learn the business and to be inspired, then you need to get them to events. And if you're not going to the events yourself, you cannot expect your team members to go to events. And events are all sorts of things. There are webinars like this. So you're all here, which is a great start. And there are the workshops, there are the opportunity meetings, there are the showcases. You need to get to as many of those as you can. If you're serious about this, you'll get to everyone so that your team realize the importance of going there. As I said there, it shows importance and it shows the value of them to your new team members. And as I said there, I said earlier on, promote the events. Don't just announce them. Don't just send emails out or Facebook messages out saying, hey guys, hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll be at this meeting if any of you can come along. Make sure you speak to them individually, explain to them the value of the meeting in helping them to achieve their goals. And if they're struggling to get there, see if you can help them solve the problems. You may not be able to, but no, there's a great example that it kind of helps you to focus on things. If you said to that team member that if they can get to the meeting on Saturday, you've got £20,000 to give them, do you think they'd be able to solve whatever problems there were? If you had a childcare issue, they would find somebody to look after the little boy or daughter. If they had a transport issue, they would, they'd say, right, well, I can get a lift to the bus station, and then I can get a bus to the railway station, then I can get a train. I might have to get up early, but I could certainly get there. So the actual getting to the meeting is never the problem. It's just that they don't realize the value of getting to the meeting. So if you can help them to solve the problem so they can get to the meeting, then they can see the value for themselves. And as I said earlier, you need to go to the events yourself. So you need to be the leader that you see. Don't just expect your sponsor or your sponsor to be the kind of the leader, if you like. If you're starting to recruit people, then you need to set an example for them. Okay, guys, getting towards the end now. So just a few questions just to make sure that you've all been awake. Make sure you haven't all dozed off yet. Can you remember at the beginning, I said before they even start up, you should ask for a few commitments from them. Can you remember what they were? Anybody want to share with us in the chat box? Yep, Victoria, yep, they need to commit to putting some time into it. Thank you. Yep, that's a good one. Yep, thanks Kim, thanks Tasha. Anybody else? Yep, a bit of effort. Yeah, kind of. I'm relating that to the time, Mallory, but yeah, that's true. Victoria, keep in contact with you. That's absolutely right. Yeah, it's really important, especially in the first few days. Yep, Hamilton, can they be teachable? So yeah, exactly right. 10 to 15 hours a week. They need to keep in touch with you. They need to communicate with you. And as Max said there, they need to learn the system. They need to be willing to spend a bit of time watching the videos, coming to the workshops and so on. Now, I have gone on about this a couple of times, but I do feel it's really, really important. Can you remember what are the two different ways that you could inform a new starter about an event? There's a good way and a not so good way. No, Joe, that wasn't what I was trying to get at. Not the kind of the tool that you do it, but yeah, a personal call. Yeah, promote, Emma. That's what I meant. Promote or announce. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, guys, that was it. Yeah, absolutely. Skype and personal calls. This is really, really important. I know exactly what you're meaning, Joe and Graham. It's really important that you speak to them about it, either with a video call or at least a telephone call, rather than just sending emails and texts to people. And yet, what I was trying to get at is promoting it rather than just announcing it. Okay guys, pretty much covered everything I was going to go through, so make sure that with new team members you set their expectations at the beginning before they even sign up. I think it's a great thing to do. And then make sure you have a getting started appointment with them within 24 hours where you can spend that time building a bit of rapport, making sure you understand what they're looking for out of the business. Anticipate early problems with them so they don't get disheartened right at the beginning. Help to keep them on track. If you can help them get their goals, achieve some little bonuses, extra free catalogs and so on, that's a great way to keep them kind of ticking over. And go to work for them as much as you can. On Facebook, it's never been easier to, as I said, join groups in their area, help promote their group to get them started. Recognize their progress, just little steps at the beginning, but it's really important you can recognize that so easily now on Facebook, and promoting the events, which I've gone on about a few times now. Okay, that's everything for this evening, pretty much. Now, as I said at the beginning, I'm not sure if you were all here there, but I'm off to Madrid with Peter and Myrna and a few other people next week, so there won't be a webinar next week or the week after. We're actually staying over a couple of days at the end of the Madrid conference to visit some friends. So it'll actually be a couple of weeks before the next lot, but the next lot, next one will be number 6, which is Grow Yourself to Grow Your Business. Now, I'm just going to